In Romans chapter 14, Rav Shaul continues as he applies the principles and instructions to practical application. And in this chapter, he's talking about unity in the community, the importance of community in the context of a spiritual community, a spiritual family. And of course, within a community, whether you're in a church or a Messianic synagogue or in that context, obviously everyone comes from a different place, different background, different journey, family, and so on. But what unites us is our faith in Yeshua, in Jesus. And he says this, verse 1, "Now accept the one who is weak in faith, but not for the purpose of disputes about opinions." In other words, we're going to have different opinions, whether it's political opinions, even religious opinions, opinions about how to raise our kids, about foods that we're to eat or not to eat, and so on. And he breaks that down throughout the chapter in that those things are secondary. Those are not things that should cause disunity and breakdown in the community. Unfortunately, it does and has for thousands of years. But and then he goes on in verse 13, he says, "Therefore let us not judge one another from now on, but rather decide this, not to put a stumbling block or a trap in the way of a brother." In other words, if we are convinced that there's a certain way we should eat, certain diet we should adopt, and so on, but someone else has a different opinion about what is good for them to eat, let's not make that a stumbling block. Let's just agree to disagree and move on, because those are secondary issues to the greater issue that should unite us, which is our faith in the Messiah, our faith in Jesus, our vision and our purpose here on this earth to glorify God in all that we do. And the unity that we have one for another, the love that we have for one another, is to be the greatest witness to those that do not yet know him.